That's better. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to show you and run through how you make a fast buck on ETS2. So let's fire her up and get down the road. So picture this. You've just started your first haulage company on ETS2. You want to make money, and you want to make money quickly. But how do you do it? Well, let me talk you through it. Now, first and foremost, you're going to have to start off with doing work for other people. Used trucks have made it easier for people to get their hands on their own truck to begin with, but the reality is you want to have a stable source of income first, and the banking model in the game won't even lend you 100 grand until you've started earning a certain amount of money, right? And you're not going to buy a crappy truck for like 10 grand. It's not worth it. It just isn't worth it, because it'll cause you more headaches than is worth getting on the road, right? So what you want to do is just go out, start driving for other people. To start off with, they're called quick jobs in here. This will build up your money. It also builds up the other vital part, which is your experience. Right? The more experience you get, the different types of truck cabs and chassis configurations and things like that you can unlock. Right, so you want to have a good amount of experience. Now, you don't have to pick your particular niche of haulage at the moment. My suggestion would be do anything and everything. Try and, when you're level up long distance first. The long distance loads pay the most amount of money, regardless of type. Obviously, the more fragile loads you do, like medicines and things like that, they also pay good money. So temperature control transport, cool chain work, basically. Are we going down there? No, not down there. I'll get up here. Cool chain work, basically, which is what I'll be doing with my real life haulage company. Okay. So you got the cool chain stuff. You've got a heavy haulage work. That also pays very good money. Listen to that beast. Love it. Just love it. Anyway, you've got the cool chain work. Got to listen to those horses sing. She's pulling 18 ton of fish fingers up a hill. Just love it. Just love it. Anyway, so yeah, you've got that to consider and factor in. So that's your best place to start. Start with the quick jobs. Do as longer journeys as possible, because the longer the journey, the more experience points you'll get, which then helps you level up in other areas as well. So I would level up your long distance first. Then once you've done your long distance, then look at either fragile loads or go for the ADR stuff. I prefer fragile loads because I'm not like into pulling petrol tankers and stuff, so I don't tend to bother. So I just tend to go for the fragile loads, because obviously then I get to pull like refrigerated trailers and stuff. It's much more my thing. But everyone's different, right? Look at that beautiful view. But everyone's different, right? So once you've got that side of things straight out, and you're doing the long distance and you're of trailers available to you is going to be limited on your experience. So my suggestion would be, don't bother buying your own trailer yet, not until you can get something full size, because you're just going to buy the double axle stuff, which is going to be impacted by weight. Beautiful view. It's just going to be impacted by weight, and it just won't be very helpful to you. So the reality is, you won't earn a whole hell of a lot off of it. Right? So put that to one side for a second, and then start to look at, okay, I've got some money in the bank, I've got my truck, right, now then upgrade your garage. Now, this is the kicker. So when you first start out in ETS, obviously you're told to pick a city to start your garage in. So where should that be? Pick your favourite country and start with the capital. Or start with a large city, somewhere like Frankfurt, Munich, like Toulouse, Montpellier, Rome, Naples, anywhere that's got a large city, right? And then what you do is, with that first loan from the bank, don't know where you're going, pal, but you can fucking wait there. With that first loan from the bank, you upgrade your garage. Right? Now you can have other people come in and work for you. Now what I tend to do at this point in time is, if I've already bought a truck for myself and I've been driving for myself, but now I've upped the garage because I need to grow my company, right? Then, and I've got to hire in a driver, then I will give them that truck and I will go back to doing quick jobs. That might well be you get a bit lucky. You've got enough money after you've upgraded your garage. I think it costs like 180 grand. There you go. I can get 2 trucks from the used market. Okay. Now you've got 2 trucks from the used market. Do you hire 2 drivers? My answer, yes. Hire the 2 drivers, get them both in your trucks. Set their learning modules to, because you can set the driver training. I'll run through that in a sec once we've delivered this frame. Will you run through that, right? Set their training to long distance. Let them level up in long distance over and above anything else. Then once they've leveled all the way up in long distance, then you set it to ADR. And then once that's done, switch it back to balanced. Now you're getting the maximum amount of revenue from your drivers. But here's the kicker: be very careful when you're employing these guys to drive used trucks that might need a great deal of service or work doing to them. Right? They will complain and they will say, "I'm not driving that. It needs too much work doing to it." So you got to make sure you don't get a princess when it comes to things like that. So either don't buy a crappy truck and give it to them, or if you do have a crappy truck and you're like, I can't afford to do it up right now, then don't let anybody else drive it but yourself. get that third truck, get that third truck, get that third truck, start making your money. Now, personally, before I ever expand the garage, what I do is I've got 3 trucks, and again, this is just me, this is just my opinion, right? I've already got 3 trucks making money, but I've got that 400 grand loan, 500 grand loan, and that's taking 5 grand a day out of my business, right? Regardless of whether I work or not. So, what do? I make sure that loan's paid off. I get rid of it. And that's the best thing you can do, pay off that loan. Then, don't get any more loans. is because, again, if you go to the bank and you keep using the bank to barrier out, you can get yourself into that cycle where you've maxed out all of your available credit and you still want to buy more stuff, but you can't because you've got no more credit. And now you might have a 500 grand loan, you might have another 100 grand loan. Suddenly that's 8 grand a day coming out of your business. Are you making 8 grand a day? Because that's the thing, you might get a trip for 12 grand and it's going to take 1 and a bit in game days. You think, that's fine, it's 12 grand. Yeah, but it's going to take 1 and a bit in game days, and that money's coming out of your bank every day. So, what does that mean? Well, it means that in reality is, out of that trip, you might only actually make 2 grand profit, because you've got 8 grand worth of loans coming out, plus you've got to fill up your tank. Well, that's another 2 grand. Oh, yeah, now all of a sudden that's 2 grand profit. See, so you've got to think about these things. I mean, the model isn't hard, it's not hard to make money in this game. They don't make it impossible or anything like that. You've just got to be consistent when you start out. That's the key, being consistent. How do you do it? Now, of course, you could use one of these mods where you're like, oh, I've got millions in the bank and what have you, and it's like, that's, yeah, you can do that, but then it just defeats the actual purpose of the game. The purpose of the game is to challenge you to make a business. It's not just about driving from point A to point B and well, it's a tight bay to get on and what have you. Those are just byproducts of being a truck driver. The reality is you're trying to have a successful business and you're thinking, well, how do I get that? Well, this is how. Thank God. Fuck the police. Right, let's go. So, that's what you've got to do. That's what you've got to take into consideration, right? So once you've got that first full 5-ball garage sorted out, okay, that's earning money. I've now got enough to go and buy another one. Where should I go? Again, I would pick capital cities first to earn you the most amount of profit, because it's very rare that a driver would not be able to find a job going back to a capital city. If you pick a garage that's out in the middle of bitchfuck nowhere, like I have for this particular one, just because I wanted to have a garage really, really, really far up north in Norway, then the chances of you having drivers working out of there, going backwards and forwards to it, getting jobs are very unlikely. At least not many. So again, this is where you have to look at when you diversify and you start then looking at these smaller places, because where do you go after you've, say, maxed out on capital cities, or you say, Nick, I've got 5 garages in capital cities, I don't want any more, I want to do something different. Where should I go? Look at the container ports, the docks, right? Again, lots of freight coming in there. Hamburg, prime example, Felixstowe in the UK, anywhere that's got a big container port going in and out, because container trailers you can get, they're another full size trailer you can get fairly early on, and you can just pull containers around, and they will make you money as well. If you've got a garage in the docks, you know you've always got a steady stream of that work. So that's like something I would do next. Then if, I don't know, you're like, no, I want my business to be all about heavy haulage, well then make sure that you've set up in a town that's always got a quarry or a building site, something like buy your second garage, what you should do is replace all of your used trucks with brand new ones, because that keeps your service costs down. You do that, it saves you a lot of money longer term. 4 hours, 10 minutes. So yeah, so you've got that side of the coin, right, where you've got to look at, okay, I know I want this, I know I want that, what else do I need to do? And set yourself targets, goals, where you're like, okay, I want to make sure that the next thing I do is buy a Scania, or I want to make sure that the next thing I do is buy a Renault. Now again, you've got to discover these garages. So big thing when you're building up your business. If you're in a town or a city that's got a question mark, go and explore, find that question mark, find out what it is. Is it a recruitment agency? Is it a dealership? Find that question mark, because that's what's going to help you when it comes to buying new trucks, and that's critical. Now, can mods, and here's the next question, can mods actually help you with this? And when I say can mod help you with this, I don't mean can mods help you, like as in, oh, let's just get the infinite money mod. Yeah, okay, well, because that's going to help, isn't it? Then you haven't got to worry about anything and everything's easy. Boring that would be. But truck mods can help you here, because the likes of the Just CTV truck, the likes of this Scania that I'm driving now, for example, or any of Dotex Mercedes or things like that. Let me just check a second, because we've only got a couple of hours left until we need a rest. And there's another one further down we can push on there, and there's a label, that's fine. And you've got the likes of Dotex, Mercedes, Johnny Tolvo, for example. Can they help you build a business? Yes, they can, because they'll be available in the used markets, they'll be available in the new markets, and often their most powerful features, engines, etc., they're all available right straight from the get-go, which is going to help you with the loads that you start hauling, get heavier and heavier. I mean, me, on the other hand, I like to keep things realistic. So, I mean, obviously this truck is done up like a show truck, because, I love this model of Scania, and I want to keep it this way. But you might want to just have fleet spec, which means you don't have all the bells and whistles on it, just comes very basic, and you're like, right, this is going to be my cost. Because what I would say is, when it comes to trucks, easy drive, fucking hell, just slammed on the anchors halfway through that corner, dickhead. I was probably going a little bit too fast, but anyway. When it comes to the trucks that your drivers are going to drive, you're never going to see those trucks on the road. So does it matter what they look like? No. Just keep them completely basic, very stock. Doesn't matter what they look like. Just keep them very basic, very stock, and just let them drive. Unless you're planning to constantly chop in and out of these trucks, which I will warn you can cause problems with your drivers, because if someone's used to driving a particular truck and you're like, oh, I want to drive that truck, I think there's a certain formula in the game, and I can't quite remember off the top of my head whether it's relocating them. I don't think it's relocating them, it works Never late. Never late in a V8. Right. Let's do a bit of the spinny. And then park up. There we go. Gosh. Let's get the head down. Alright. 1 a.m. Let's go. I mean, obviously, once you get your perfect model and your stuff for your business, then what's going on here. And you can look at their logs, and if you've got drivers who are regularly missing drops, if you've got drivers who are regularly missing jobs where they're like, oh, you know, I couldn't find a job here, couldn't find a job there, that's all going to come out of the bottom line of profit of that garage. And if you're starting to see a pattern there where you've got a driver who's doing that consistently, I get rid of them. I just fire them. A lot of people will be like, oh, I'll move them to another location, blah, blah, blah. But no, chances are that driver has a mentality like that, so therefore get rid of them. Right, hang on a sec. Space cadet right across in front of me. Incidentally, for anyone wondering, the trailer is by Just See TV as well. Those guys' mods are the bollocks. They are really good. Absolutely love them. Anyway, going back to my original point, so when you get a problem driver like that, just get rid. You will have them, okay, it does happen in the game. I'm not sure whether that's by design or whether it's a bug or not, but I've seen it a few times. I'm like, yeah, you can just get to fuck, mate, and off they go. But yeah, but look, at the end of the day, the main thing I want to emphasise is this game is a game. Okay? Everyone calls it a simulator, it's still a game, and it should be fun. Okay, you should enjoy doing this. Yes, you've got to grind out various bits, but all I will say to you is it's with someone who's got 3,000-4,000 hours in this game, you get out what you put in. So if you build on your consistency and build completely, and what I like to do is when you've got a profile to a certain level and it's making money and it's making good money and everything else, then go and start another profile, do the same thing, do the same. That way, if a profile ends up getting broken for whatever reason, you haven't lost all your progress. So there's always a method to that madness. You know, once it gives you something extra to do, I can't go about refrigerated trailer, because it will make you the most money both from your on the payroll drivers and from work you do for yourself. The refrigerated work, as in real life, pays the most amount of money. It just does. Okay? So you get into that kind of thing, then it's big money, right? Heavy haulage also pays big money. So again, you can look at that sort of thing, but bear in mind when you want to do that, you need to have powerful engines. What do you need to do to have a powerful engine in this game? You need to be at a certain level. So I wouldn't consider getting into heavy haulage if I were you until I was at least level 20 and above in this game, purely and simply because you won't be able to get the trucks with the engines powerful enough. So that's what I would do if it was me. Right. Once you've picked whatever niche it is that you want to be a part of, you might say, oh, I just want to do general haulage, which means, okay, I'll get 4 or 5 curtain siders in and we just haul whatever, and that's fine. You can do that. It will earn you money. Bearing in mind, the further away you go, the more money you will earn. The only thing that they haven't put in the game yet that I am kind of disappointed about is the car transport trailer, because I would quite like to have a few of them on my fleet. I think it's good work. I think it would be fun to have that in there. I don't know what they're doing with that and whether they are going to do anything with that or not. But anyway, that's one thing I would like to have on my fleet. But yeah, so you've got options available to you. Just be consistent, be sensible with any borrowing that you do undertake. Bear in mind that the borrowing is going to cost you daily whether you run or not. Now what happens also as well, right? Other things to consider. So, and I've had to do this a couple of times, you will get moments in the game where you'll be driving down the road, and it'll be early on in your career, you'll be driving down the road, an AI car pulls out the junction straight in front of you, and wham, you hit it, you do a load of damage to your truck, and you might do a load of damage to the load as well. Now, that load was say going to pay you 20 grand, right? But the trouble is, your truck's fucked. It's not going to make it there without a repair, and unfortunately, the load's now damaged. Now, once the load becomes bit I'll drop. Gonna do the window down. Window down. It's about 22 degrees. I wish it was. Real life, it's December and it's bloody freezing. Building out your company, this is your choice. I turn the fines and everything off because they're not realistic. Getting fined £5 for going 2 kilometres an hour over the speed limit is absolute farcical bollocks. So I don't do it. I turn the fines and that off because I just find them irritating and I don't think that they're realistic. Well, we're only along there. There's lots of bays here. I'm surprised we didn't get on a bay. Nay bother. Nay bother. Let me just a bit easier. Right. There you go. We've chewed the fat and we've explained ways in which to make you a lot of money in Euro Truck Simulator 2. So I hope you found this useful and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks very much for watching.